Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday Morning Cup of Coffee. I'm Steve Ivy. I'm here with co-host Brady Hull. Brady, how are you this morning?
You know, we thawed out a little bit. It was a journey to get in here this morning, Steve. But I can't complain about the snow because I was complaining about the lack of snow over Christmas. So I guess we're making up for it now.
Yeah, it's nice to have the ground cover, to be honest with you. It's probably best for soil erosion and things like that to get a little bit of snow on the ground. I wanted to mention, I'm using the Van Halen song. I'm using Jump to open. I don't know if you know this, but I get banned in Belarus and Russia for using that song. That is on the prohibited list. I'm not allowed.
Really?
So Brady, we will not be seen in Belarus and Russia.
Oh, come on. I know that's a core of my audience, Steve.
Belarus. It's the mortal enemy. My mom was actually she was born. My mom was born in Russia. So, and she is from it's now would be considered Belarus, but that's okay. I don't know of anybody living over there. Anyway, how you had a great weekend, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What do you think the big stories are going to be this week?
Boy, I mean, a lot of local stuff. Honestly, we're talking about CSU hoops, UNC hoops. They're rocking and rolling. Nuggets are cooking. Avs are looking good. So a lot of local stuff, and then obviously we'll build up for the AFC and NFC championship games coming up this weekend, which we'll have on.
You've got it's fun. We obviously, this is a channel that's really devoted to CSU men's hoops. You've got a great story going on in Greeley with the UNC Bears at the top of the Big Sky standings.
Yeah, they're rolling. I mean, everybody's kind of giving them their best right now. You saw on Saturday, close game, Thursday, close game. They're going to get a lot of that, but undefeated in conference play so far. This is one of their best starts ever. I think their second best Big Sky starts. So Steve Smiley, he's got something cooking over there, man. Every year seems to find these guys we've never heard of before.
Yeah,
so Coach Medved, though.
People don't. I don't think people understand how hard it is to do what he does in the Big Sky. It's a different kind of conference. It's a conference. It's a one bid league with the conference championship. You get a team ready. You develop teams over the course of the year. You don't fly charters. You don't do a lot of things. And then they play Thursday, Saturday schedules, which are brutal. They really are in terms of preparing teams. And what he's doing is fantastic. Just as a quick update, I've been following. I try and follow all the ex-CSU players. Jack Payne plays for Idaho now, so he'll be coming, I think, to play in Greeley. Jack in Big Sky play has been averaging about 15 points and 6 rebounds and 3 assists. So it's kind of fun to follow him. I might try and make it over to Greeley to see him. It would be kind of fun to do that. So,
yeah. And, they're trying to build something in Greeley. It's difficult. You've been to games at Bank of Colorado Arena, Steve, and it's nothing even close to what's behind you in your backdrop there at Moby. They've got a good product. It's just the disconnect. It's crazy how well it works in Fort Collins compared to it not working, I guess, so much in Greeley, even though the product is good.
Yeah. So here we are. We have a special guest today, Keshawn Williams. He's in the background. I don't see a visual of him. Let's see if there he is. I'm going to bring him on. There he is. One of the hardest men for me to track down. I've been trying to get Keshawn on the show since day one. Brady knows that. We've been looking forward to it. And I got to tell you, Brady, I tried to get him on my Thursday night show last week, and Keshawn looked at me and said, Monday will work better. I've got a YouTube channel, and I've got some edits to make. So Keshawn has a YouTube channel. I have the address running on a banner. I want to start by talking about your YouTube channel. Tell me about it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so I started my YouTube. Wait, you guys can hear me, right?
Yep,
we're all
we got
okay. All right. First of all, thanks for having me on here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I started my YouTube channel, I want to say last year around this time. Actually, like a year. I'm creeping up on a year about like doing my YouTube channel. I posted my first video last year. And I don't know, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I was just like, you know what? I might as well do it with NIL and stuff. I was like, I might as well just try to do it. So yeah, I ended up doing it, and it's actually going pretty well. So yeah.
What can we
I-
expect on the YouTube channel, man? Talk to us about it.
Man, that's the thing. I don't really have a niche on there. I do just like pretty much anything that comes to mind. Like I've done social experiments, like where I'll go outside and just hug random people, see if they'll give me a hug. I've done I've done like game day vlogs. I do I like the video that I just did, the one that I was editing. Like that's my shoe collection video. So I'm just showing people like how many shoes I have. I'm actually gonna post that one either today or tomorrow. So just different stuff, honestly.
I love it,
So
man. How did the hug experiment go? I'm curious. Was that
Yeah, it went well actually. I got rejected a few times, but I got more hugs than I was rejected, so it was pretty good. It was
I
pretty
love
good.
it, man.
well,
Yeah,
we'll do a family hug right here,
yeah,
a
yeah,
group hug here. we're all into hugging.
yeah,
I think it's awesome. Everybody should subscribe. Subscribe to Keshawn's channel. Help him out, and you can see the address at Key Will, and I'll do it, and I'll look forward to the shoe
Heck yeah.
video. My shoe collection obviously is pretty damn boring. I wear like 2 pairs of shoes, so I'm not young. I'm old, and it's hard for me to find anything that feels right. So,
nothing wrong with that.
yeah, let's start talking hoops. You came to CSU this year. You transferred to CSU from Northern Illinois. Every time I have a guest on that has been in the portal, I always like to hear about your experience in the portal. What was it like for Keshawn Williams?
Yeah, so when I entered the portal, it was a little scary, I'm not gonna lie, because I was hurt for 2 years. So I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really expect many schools to reach out to me, which was true. Like I had a few schools reach out to me, but CSU, they reached out to me like maybe 2 weeks when I was in the portal, like after I was in the portal, and I had took a visit already. I took a visit to Cleveland State, and then I told them like, I want to take one more visit, and then CSU was like, hey, you want to take a visit? I was like, okay, I'll take this visit. And it's a funny story because I visited CSU when I was in high school. Like this was one of my top schools to go, like that I wanted to go to when I was in high school. So when I came on the visit, it was basically the same vibes, same staff almost, and it was just like, it was a no-brainer. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go here. Yeah.
Makes it easier, yeah, with kind of having that background too, getting to know everybody
Exactly.
once
Yeah.
the cool stuff hit up. Well, that's crazy. You talk about the injuries. I know that's been a big topic we've discussed, about you and with your teammates, your coaches, everybody just talking about how great they know you can be once you get past those injuries, man. Those things were rough for you for those 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it was really rough. This is the first like full season that I've been playing in 2 years. Like, it's rough trying to get my feet back under me. Um, I think I'm at the point now where I'm starting to, try to get over that mental hump of like, okay, like you're fine. Cause like, this is the heart of the season. You starting to feel like a little knick-knack bruises and you start to hurt a little bit. So it's like, okay, I need to get over this second hump of like, okay, just, trusting my body and just, telling myself that I'm okay. But it's been tough, but I feel like I'm getting there.
Did you injured it your junior, your third year at halfway through the year at Northern Illinois? You're averaging over 18 points a game, lost the rest of the season. You tried to come back last year and you gave it a go for a game. Did you shut it down because your knee was still bothering you?
I shut it down. Yeah, I just shut it down. It wasn't it. So I redshirted. They gave me back my year. So it worked out because now I have another year after this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
that was what I was going to ask. Was that it's you're cleared for that last year? So this is not just a big year in terms of coming back, but it's a development year to get ready for hopefully a 2-year career at CSU.
Exactly.
We know we have no guarantees, but we're enjoying watching you develop. What's been the biggest challenge making the transition to play in the Nico Medved system for you?
Oh, the biggest challenge. I want to say the offense, honestly. I came from NIU, and our offense was really just like all basically ball screen, pick and roll. But then I got here, and then he told me like, hey, you need to cut more, you need to do this, and then we had like this complicated motion offense that everybody talks about. I was like, it can't be that bad. But yeah, it was pretty hard to learn. It was really hard. It took me at least 2 months to like fully understand the offense. But obviously it's a really good offense. You were one of the best, assist teams in the country. So that was probably one of the best, I mean, the hardest transitions for me, for sure. Like the challenge.
How did you, obviously you got practice, you're working on it in practice nonstop, but what other things do you use? Because we've heard this from so many of your teammates, guys that have come and gone from CSU. Same thing. Like it's complicated. Were you trying to get more one-on-one conversation with coaches, studying more film? I mean, what were some of the other things that you would do to learn this
So
complicated offense?
yeah, so they would send like the clips of our practices to like a group chat, and I would just go look at the clips of like practice just so I can remember what play was what, because it gets to the point where it's like you start to understand that all the plays are basically the same, but it's just like tweaked a little bit.
Mhm.
But it's like so many of them that you have to remember them. And then, then you get to talk about like different terminology because different schools use different terminology. So that was a factor as well. But just watching film and just trying to, better understand it that way.
I always, whenever I talk to coaches, and I've talked to Nico about this, I always say, well, you can teach as much as you want in practice and on film, but ultimately the game is the teacher. Um, did and you started playing obviously early in the year. What was there any one game you have obviously gradually improved and really fit into this rotation now? Was there any one game where you felt like, oh my God, it's finally starting to click for me in the non-conference schedule?
That is a great question. I couldn't really say that just yet. I think I'm just so hard on myself, and I always feel like I could do better. But I've had some games where I like, okay, I feel pretty good right now. It was actually the game before my birthday. It was a day before my birthday. We played Radford, and I actually felt pretty good, like on both ends of the floor. That was one of the first games where I was like, okay, I kind of felt like myself right there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, you're such an energetic player. I mean, so athletic. Watching, it's so much fun to watch you. So once you're able to understand and put the offense together and then pair that with your athletic ability, man, that's what's really been so much fun. I think one of the more exciting storylines surrounding CSU is kind of your once you get that mix between understanding the offense and then using your athleticism, that's the complete package right there, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And then, not to just keep talking about the injuries, but that was one thing I was worried about was like, hey, am I gonna be able to still move the way I used to move? But I honestly feel like I move and like jump a lot better than I did before, which is so weird.
How much of that is on your mind when you're playing? Because again, you play so fast. When you obviously when you're easing into it after the injury, you got to be thinking about it quite a bit. Is it just one of those things that subtly goes away over time, or is it always kind of in the back of your mind?
I mean, honestly, I feel like if you ask anyone that's been through ACL rehabilitation, they're gonna say it's always in the back of their mind. But it's just like it gets to the point where you kind of like you learn how to tune it out and just be like, okay, like I'm fine, like everything's okay, and then you kind of just go out there and just do what you used to do. So it got to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna play how I used to play, and I'm just gonna run and just jump and just do everything that I used to do. So it got to the point where I just kind of didn't even think about it anymore.
The I remember talking to, I can't remember which coach, it might have been Tim Shelton, at the before the season started, and everybody was so excited to have you because the one thing that you can never underestimate in the game of basketball is a guy who can put the ball in the basket. And you showed that ability through your high school career, through your college career, through Northern Illinois. But he said it would be a difficult, not a difficult, but an interesting transition for you to work into the system, not just on the offensive side, but on the defensive side of the ball. What is it? What has it been like trying to kind of transition into the way the CSU plays defense for you?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, I've never really been. I can honestly say I've never really been challenged to defend at the level that that we're defending at. Like I can honestly say that, and I had to look myself in the mirror and actually like, okay, this is what it's going to take for you to help your team win. So in practice, like they make sure that I'm on the court doing defense almost every possession. Like every time, like if we do like a defensive segment, they're like, Keshawn, stay on the court right now. You're going again. So I'm like, okay. And it was tough at first, but like now I'm starting to get used to it. Like, okay, like this is what I need to be doing. Like I know this is something that I need to continue to get better at. And I feel like I've been growing in that area. So I've been getting a lot better. Obviously, I have some times where I'm like, okay, I could have done this better. But everybody has those type of moments. But it's been challenging for sure. But it's definitely something that I'm gonna continue to work on.
Real quick, Brady, before, let
course.
me just interrupt for a sec. There was one practice I went to, and I can't remember when it was. And that's when I knew you had arrived, because I saw defensively you were scrapping, you were going to the ground, you were doing everything, and you were probably the best defender in that practice. And it's like, oh, Keshawn's here.
Mhm. Well, is that
remember.
Keshawn? That was Steve. Was that the practice we were both when Coach Medved's like clapping, he's pointing at Keshawn, and he's like, "Hey, I see you, man. I see you." That's got to be so uplifting, because we all see Nico Medved. He can get after it. He can get upset. Even when you guys are up by 1,000,000, I'm watching him slap on the floor or whatever, getting upset. But in practice, he gets after it that way too, if not more so. When you get those moments where it's like, hey, kind of a brief pause in practice, quick little shout out, I'm seeing what you're doing. That's got to be just kind of reinvigorating and motivational for you.
Oh man, it means a lot. And I feel people they underestimate that. Like, I feel coaches, they can be really hard on you. And the coaching staff, they're really hard on me. And I just take it as like, they care about me. So, when they're hard on you, it's also, I feel like it has to be a balance between the praise when you actually do, something right. And I feel like people underestimate that. But Coach Medved and the staff, they do a really good job at that. Like they're very hard on me on the defensive end, but they also will praise me when I do something good too. So it feels great.
Well, I think too, like that's what, when a coach kind of stops coaching you hard, then that's the
That's when
worst.
it's like,
That is,
yeah.
he's not talking to me as much. He's not coaching me up. He's not pushing me. So, that is I think that's the highest compliment right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we've moved into the conference schedule. Here's a question from somebody watching live. What's your impression of the Mountain West venues so far?
Like the competition?
The places you've played in, the arenas you played in.
The arenas I've played in. Oh, let's see.
What you think of going to Laramie?
Ooh. It was a snowstorm when
Yeah.
we were going there, so I can't really give like a really good, impression of that. But if I'm being completely honest, like I mean, I love the gym. Like the gym was nice. Like we had a really good gym. We played with the Adidas ball. I played with an Adidas ball for my last 4 years in college, so that was pretty good. Where else have we been?
How about San
Um,
Diego?
San Diego. We haven't been there yet. We haven't been there yet.
Yeah, you just played there, San Diego.
The
Wait.
Viejas.
Oh yeah. We did. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hey, you
I'm
guys
wow.
get to going so much. It's like,
You're-
I
hey,
know.
yeah, man.
It's just like
It's a
I
blur.
love San Diego. San
That's
Diego
a
was
crazy place
nice.
to play.
Yeah, the weather was nice. They had a nice fan base, so that was fun. Let's see, where else have we been? San Jose. I love the weather out there too. I won't say much about the gym. I just won't say much about that. Where else have we been in conference?
Nevada. You went to Reno too.
We
Didn't
went to
you?
Nevada. Yeah, that just seemed like it was a fever dream for some reason. It was so early in when you start rolling, it's just like you forget everything. But we actually went up there and got that win. That was the first conference game we played, I think, like on the road. So that was fun to get the win out there. So yeah.
Steve, when you move as fast as Keshawn, you gotta look forward. You can't
Gotta
be
look
thinking about
forward.
that stuff behind you. I get it.
I will say one place I'm looking forward to playing at is the pit. I keep hearing things about the pit. I heard it's really fun to play there. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Coming up. It's coming
Yeah,
up.
definitely is.
Well, I
So-
love it, man. Again, this is you guys. I mean, with the start of the conference schedule, it's been pretty solid. I think we looked at what, Steve, a couple weeks ago. We looked at the UNLV, San Diego State, Wyoming, and Boise stretch, and thought, man, if you guys can come out of that pretty good, you'd be sitting in a really good spot in conference play. This is tough, though. I mean, every team, they flat out bring it every single night. It's every year we've seen that. You could go up against the bottom of the barrel in this conference, and that could be a barn burner of a game. So
Exactly.
we're seeing it throughout, every single night with these Mountain West teams.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every team we've played, they brought their best, and I feel like that's just going to keep happening. So, but these next couple of games are very big games for us. Just like any other game, though, we're not going to approach them any different. Like we approach them all the same way. Like we know everything that we need to do, and we're just going to take it one game at a time.
You know, it comes. Speaking of the scheduling thing, I mean, it comes fast and furious during conference season. Yeah, you get a bye every 3 or 4 weeks, but then you go basically every 3 days. You're playing a game, and I know the level of detail that this coaching staff gets into to prepare you to play games. Do you find it extremely challenging moving on to the next opponent and getting ready for the next opponent? What's that challenge like for you?
I will say it was challenging when we first started, just like how fast everything was going. But now you start to get into the mode where it's like, okay, we're getting to the depth of conference. Everything's starting to become familiar. Like we don't change what we do. Like we do the same thing pretty much every single time. So it almost just becomes like a schedule. And once you start following that schedule, it's like it gets a little easier for sure.
Well, you got to change up with the schedule these next couple games to play on
I
Wednesday night.
know. Yeah, I know. But it was pretty good because we had yesterday off, so I wasn't really mad at that at all. And now we're gonna be back at it today and then tomorrow, and then we'll be ready to go on Wednesday.
Big one coming up Wednesday.
Yeah.
For that game.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I was going to ask you just obviously big game with Boise. They're a very, very good team, an NCAA tournament team last year, just like CSU was, and they had a bunch of guys back from last year's team. But I wanted to talk to you about the win on Saturday. Obviously, you know, you approach it, and I've been around Coach Medved long enough to know he doesn't necessarily treat games any differently. He prepares to win every game and tries to get his team prepared, whether it's a rivalry game or not. But how did it feel beating a team that is a known and identified rival? What was the feeling like for you as part of that game on Saturday?
Oh man, it felt great. And I mean, yes, it's always great to win a rivalry game, but I more so felt great just because of like one of my teammates and Coach DeWeese, like he was at Wyoming, and then we talked about Jalen Lake and how he hasn't won at my Wyoming yet. So we were like, yeah, let's do this for Lake. So it just felt good just all around for everyone.
Well, yeah, I saw Ken got you guys were covered. You gave him the water bottle treatment there.
Yeah.
That guy, I joke about Ken. I love Ken. He has been all over like the northern Colorado / Wyoming area, UNC, Wyoming, CSU. He's been everywhere. So I always kind of joke when we had him on, like, I'm just following his career, basically teams that he's coached for. We like to talk about.
That's funny. That's funny. No, yeah, he's a great guy, great coach. I love Coach Luis.
So, looking forward to Boise and beyond, where do you think? Well, let me take a step back. Your role is coming off the bench. You, Bowen, Ethan, Kyle form a great second unit. Do you and as soon as you guys started clicking, it seems like the team really started to take off. What do you see coming for you between now and the end of the season? What kind of things can we look for Keshawn to even improve even more at?
It kind of just goes back to what we talked about in the beginning of this conversation, just me trying to just get better on the defensive end. I feel like once I get better at that and I fully feel like, okay, I'm locked in on the defensive end, I feel like it's just going to take my game to another level. Like I know that I'm pretty decent on the offensive end, but once I can put those two together, I feel like it'll just take off for me for sure.
Yeah, Steve, you mentioned these guys too, like Keshawn, some of the younger guys, but also the new faces. You guys have been such a huge part to this team. But I think all of those guys that we've talked to say something similar to what you're saying is, hey, it's complicated. It's overwhelming at first, but once you figure it out, and we all kind of figured that once we saw you guys get into conference play, things might start to slow down for you guys. You get into more of a rhythm. Have you seen that more as far as feeling more comfortable, not just with the system, but with your entire team?
Oh yeah, I mean, as soon as we got to conference play, it's like it was like a big jump, and it was crazy that we talked about it. I think before or after Christmas break, it was one of them, and it was like, hey, the team that's gonna come out and make a big jump is the team that's gonna be the best. And I think we came out and we made a big jump, a bigger jump than I think most of us expected. And I think it just started with us just hanging out more off the court too. Like I feel like that goes, people don't talk about that enough either. I feel the more closer you are off the court, the more connected you're gonna be on the court, and it started to show for sure.
Well, we've seen the explosion offensively, and I've seen the improvement defensively, and I think the world of how far you've come, and I honestly believe, like you just talked about the growth of this team and the improvement of this team. In the last month, CSU has been maybe the most improved team in the Mountain West and climbing up all the analytical sites. Here's something talking about your explosion. You and Bowen are hitting on a lob on Wednesday. Here's the question: Will you be throwing Bowen the pass, or will Bowen be throwing you the pass?
I think I'm gonna throw Bowen the pass this time. Every time, Bowen throws me the pass, it just doesn't work out. So I think we're gonna switch it up.
I'm gonna guess the one to Bowen isn't gonna result in a dunk.
Bowen can dunk now. I've seen him dunk before. No, but in all seriousness, me and Bo talk about it all the time. Like we're like, hey, we're gonna get a lob before the season is over. Like we're gonna get one for sure. Hopefully it's Wednesday. Well,
Brady, we gotta finish up. What's your last questions with Keshawn? We gotta let him get on. I think you got some weight training this morning. You told me.
We got to let you get back to the lab, man. You're awesome, dude. I'm gonna check out that YouTube channel. The media stuff. You have a future in that. I know your basketball career is far from over, but you're easy to talk to. I remember meeting you at the golf event several months ago, man.
Yeah.
You were just awesome to talk to. It was fantastic. And
so I appreciate that, man.
Grinding, man, on the basketball side, of course, but all the other stuff, dude. You've got a very bright future in front of you.
I really appreciate that. That means a lot.
Keshawn, thanks for coming on. For your hard work this morning. You will be getting an official Crackers College Hoop Monday morning cup of coffee mug. You may not be a coffee drinker. Nick Clifford got one. He's a tea drinker, so he drinks his tea out of it. But I'll stop by practice, drop off your mug. But thanks, young man, for stepping on with Brady and me this morning. We really appreciate it. We're glad we finally were able to track you down. We'll see you at practice, and then obviously Wednesday night when you play Boise State in the next Mountain West game. Thanks again, bud.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Good luck,
you
man.
Bet. Bye now. What a guy. I am so happy I finally got him on the show. I love his spirit and his energy, Brady. He's a happy, outgoing, and his game is fun to watch. When he's in the open court, the crowd at Moby Gym lights up when he's in the open court, because you're going to see something really, really good about going to the basket. He is incredibly good at getting to the basket. It's great to see that he's getting better off of his coming out of that knee injury, and we're really starting to see him blossom within this Nico Medved system.
Yeah, he plays a lot like he acts. When you talk to him, whether it's this or other interviews, things like that, every time he lights up when you talk to him. He's very personable, and he has energy. This is like magnetic energy, and he plays like that too. So he's one of my favorites to watch. Easily my favorite, probably my favorite basketball player this year to actually chat with. Steve, he's entertaining as heck.
Yeah, there was one play that he made, and it didn't result in a basket, but the roof would have come off of Moby, where they came down in transition this year, and Keshawn went hard into the corner and hit a behind the back pass to, I can't remember who. It might have been Lake. It might have been Kyan Evans, and they missed. But everybody jumped to their feet, because you don't see behind the back passes much anymore. Yeah. And the timing of it and the execution of it was absolutely in the moment. And that's what I love about Keshawn. He's in the moment very much when he's on the floor in a very structured system, and watching him figure out a way to find his spots to express himself within that structure has been has been a great joy for me to watch.
Yeah, no question. It's starting to come together. That Wyoming game, I wasn't really concerned about it, Steve, but they've shown. I know they got beat up pretty good the game before that, but this Cowboys team, kind of a gritty team. They're gonna grind. Sundance Wicks seems like maybe he has some guys believing. So to win like that, what was it, 79-60 or 79-63?
Yeah.
To get away with a win, that deciding, I thought was huge for Colorado State. And I still think, man, San Diego State, when they come to town, if you don't turn it over 20 times, I still think CSU can hang with the best in this conference, Steve. I really do.
Yeah, if you look at the two games they've lost in the conference, you can attribute both of them to just bad turnover spells. The New Mexico game they lost at home, they fed a 21-point New Mexico run in the first half that basically put the game away. New Mexico can do that. They can turn you over. They did the same thing to Boise the other night, and they had them by 20, 27 or 28 at halftime.
Yeah.
And it's the turnover thing. And if they can get a little tighter with the ball, I don't think there's a team they can't beat. I look forward to every home game, not just San Diego State, but you've got Utah State, you've got Boise coming in, you've got Nevada. They've already picked off UNLV, who had a great win at San Diego State on Saturday. The conference is up for grabs. I had a nice chat with I do a show on Saturday night that reviews the Mountain West with Tom Moser, who follows the conference and has a podcast that covers the conference. And we had a lot of fun talking about how wide open this conference is right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Who would have thought CSU and UNLV would be a game out in tied for third place ahead of San Diego State and Boise State at this point? And it's really going to be a fun ride in as they play. They have 13 more games to go. So are you getting a chance to follow it that closely, or is it just you're just so darn busy?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I've been able to catch I think almost every game. Missed some of the Wyoming game, but yeah, it's a blast to see this and seeing some of these other teams. I haven't watched as many Mountain West games outside of CSU this year as I normally do, but that usually changes right about now as we're wrapping up. Football season's over, and we've got the championship games coming up this weekend. But yeah, I'm hoping to dive into a lot of Mountain West because I love watching Mountain West basketball.
Yeah, it's been fun this year. I don't think it's this much lower than last year. Every team is off just by a touch, but the top seven are the same top seven as last year, and the top seven are all in the top 100 in all the computer polls and the like. And so you've got a very similar conference race, and it's been fun. So switching topics, switching gears, what you got cooking for later in the week?
Yeah, we'll be diving in a lot of basketball talk, really kind of busting into that. We'll recap the playoff weekend that was in the NFL, so we'll get to that stuff. I was bummed out, Josh Allen, good for him and all that stuff, but Lamar Jackson's my guy, Steve, and just some bad turnovers by him, and then bad turnovers by one of his right-hand man, Mark Andrews. So rough go for Baltimore as they can't get past Buffalo. But Buffalo, Kansas City, it's going to be huge. I'm really looking forward to that game.
Yeah, I think other than a certain city that straddles the Missouri-Kansas line, I think the whole nation is a Buffalo on the Buffalo wagon this week. There's just a lot of interesting dynamics that go on, and I think people are sick and tired of watching a certain quarterback draw penalties.
It's starting to get that way nationally, isn't it? For the longest time, it was always Broncos fans complaining, maybe other division rivals complaining, but nationally, listen, I think Patrick Mahomes is amazing. He's easily a Hall of Famer. He's probably already in the GOAT territory. This isn't a slight, but he's kind of the James Harden of the NFL. He's taking advantage of the rules. That's what James Harden does when he plays basketball, and it's not always pretty, and you're going to argue about it, but the rules are there for a reason, and Mahomes has found a way to kind of work those to his benefit. I can't necessarily blame him for that, but I can certainly be annoyed by it.
You know, it's funny that in soccer, Lionel Messi is known as the best player in the world. He does a lot of that stuff too, and no one ever gets on him about that. It's only in the U.S. with the quarterbacks, and like you said, he exploits it. But he is just a hell of a quarterback and a hell of a leader as well. He finds ways to win. I was going to bring something else up for you. You know, it's something that you've been doing. You know, you do the this year you have the Nick Clifford show, you had the Isaiah Stevens show, you had the David Roddy show. When Roddy was here, you had the Mountain West Player of the Year, you had Isaiah's first team all conference the 2 years you had him. Just to let you know, Nick Clifford in a lot of the analytics has moved to the top of the charts in the Mountain West. Ken Pomeroy, KenPom.com has Nick Clifford #1 in the Mountain West right now. And there's another site that has Nick Clifford as #1 in the Mountain West right now. So just to let you know, there might be a little Brady Hall magic working on another Player of the Year in the Mountain West.
I would love to take full credit, but in fairness, I have piggybacked. They've already achieved this great ultimate success, and then here I come to scoop them up for the shows. But man, it's been awesome, and Nick has been tremendous to talk to. Such a thoughtful dude. I'll ask him a question, he'll answer it, and then he'll pause and he'll fire the question back to me. I never get that from the player interviews that I do. He starts asking me questions, man. So I love it. He's a great dude, and these shows have been so much fun to do every single year, and I've been very lucky, especially when it comes to CSU basketball.
Yeah, you know, the joy for me with Nick is he's so humble. You can say things to him and he'll just go, "Yeah, thanks." He's always very grateful when you say something and when you talk with him. And I really appreciate he's so soft spoken. But he talks loudly on the basketball court, and that is my kind of player. I just like that. Very unassuming off the court. Totally dominant, and he showed his dominance on Saturday up in Wyoming. Well, let's call it a day. I've kept you long enough, and you're a busy man. Final thoughts?
No, let's see a big one on Wednesday night. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. CSU Boise State, as you said, this Mountain West race is heating up. So every game, what'd you say, Steve? 13 games left already?
13 left for CSU. Some have 12, some have 13.
Yeah, it flies by too. So these games, every one, and CSU, I don't know if we thought they'd be 5-2 in conference play at this point, but here they are. They have a realistic shot to chase down that #1 seed because they're going to need as much help as they can get. At large is not looking fantastic, so they're going to need the best spot that they can possibly get in that conference tournament.
You know, I had Justin Michael on my Saturday recap show, and he brought up an interesting point at comparing this team to the Miles 2011-12 teams, one of which went to the NIT, one of which scraped its way into the NCAA. Very scrappy team, maybe not the prettiest and the perfect put together team, but they really compete, and I thought that was a great analogy, and that's something I'm excited about as we watch the run-in. But it was so much fun to have Keshawn. It's always fun to have you, young man. You keep me young. I appreciate you coming on. I have so much fun with this show, and so much fun building this CSU fan audience. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Brady, once again. Have a great week. Have a great Martin Luther King Day and a great presidential inauguration day. And a great week, everybody. Go Rams.
All right, Steve. Appreciate you, man. Go Rams.